Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about the fault code P018C, low value of fuel pressure sensor circuit B. This code can be caused by a few different things, so we'll go over the most common causes and how to diagnose them. We'll also talk about how to fix the problem so you can get your car back on the road. So, if you're having problems with this code, be sure to check out this video. The P018C code is a diagnostic trouble code, DTC, that indicates a problem with the fuel pressure sensor circuit B. This code is typically triggered when the fuel pressure sensor detects a fuel pressure that is lower than the expected value. There are several possible causes of the P018C code, including faulty fuel pressure sensor. The fuel pressure sensor itself may be faulty and sending incorrect readings to the engine control unit, ECU. Low fuel pressure. There may be a problem with the fuel pump or fuel pressure regulator, which is causing the fuel pressure to be too low. Electrical problems. There may be a problem with the wiring or connectors to the fuel pressure sensor, which is preventing it from sending accurate readings to the ECU. Vacuum leak. A vacuum leak can cause the fuel pressure to be lower than expected. Fuel contamination. Contaminated fuel can damage the fuel pressure sensor and cause it to malfunction. If you are experiencing the P018C code, it is important to diagnose the problem and fix it as soon as possible. Here are some steps you can take. Check the fuel pressure. The first step is to check the fuel pressure using a fuel pressure gauge. This will help you determine if the fuel pressure is actually low. Inspect the fuel pressure sensor. Inspect the fuel pressure sensor for any signs of damage or wear. If the sensor is damaged, it will need to be replaced. Check the wiring and connectors. Inspect the wiring and connectors to the fuel pressure sensor for any signs of damage or corrosion. If the wiring or connectors are damaged, they will need to be repaired or replaced. Check for vacuum leaks. Check for any vacuum leaks that could be causing the fuel pressure to be lower than expected. Check the fuel quality. Make sure that you are using high-quality fuel that is free of contaminants. If you are not comfortable diagnosing and fixing the problem yourself, you should take your vehicle to a qualified mechanic. The P018C code is associated with a low value in the fuel pressure sensor circuit B. This can manifest in a variety of symptoms, including illuminated check engine light. This is the most common symptom, indicating that the engine control unit, ECU, has detected an issue with the fuel pressure sensor. Rough idle or stalling. Low fuel pressure can lead to difficulty starting the engine and rough idling. In severe cases, the engine may even stall. Hesitation or loss of power. If the fuel pressure is too low, the engine may not be able to deliver enough power, especially when accelerating. Increased fuel consumption. Low fuel pressure can also lead to increased fuel consumption as the engine tries to compensate for the lack of pressure. Black smoke from the exhaust. This can be a sign that the engine is running rich, which can be caused by low fuel pressure. Diagnosing the P018C code involves a few steps. Read the trouble codes. The first step is to use an OBD2 scanner to read the trouble code stored in the ECU. The P018C code will be displayed if the fuel pressure sensor circuit B is malfunctioning. Inspect the wiring and connectors. Check the wiring and connectors associated with the fuel pressure sensor for any signs of damage or corrosion. Loose or damaged connections can cause the sensor to malfunction. Test the fuel pressure sensor. Use a multimeter to test the fuel pressure sensor according to the manufacturer's specifications. This will help determine if the sensor is faulty. Check the fuel pump and fuel filter. A weak fuel pump or clogged fuel filter can also cause low fuel pressure. Inspect these components and replace them if necessary. The repair for the P018C code will depend on the underlying cause of the problem. Here are some possible repairs. Replace the fuel pressure sensor. If the sensor is faulty, it will need to be replaced. Repair or replace the wiring and connectors. If the wiring or connectors are damaged, they will need to be repaired or replaced. Replace the fuel pump or fuel filter. If the fuel pump or fuel filter is faulty, it will need to be replaced. Address any other underlying issues. If there are any other underlying issues that are causing the low fuel pressure, such as a vacuum leak, these will need to be addressed as well. It is important to note that diagnosing and repairing fuel system problems can be complex. If you are not comfortable doing this yourself, it is best to take your vehicle to a qualified mechanic.